Hello, everyone. I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'm going to be breaking down our next matchup for UFC Qatar. In this one, we have our co-main event and another fantastic matchup in a surging welterweight division. I'm going to tell you guys right now, welterweight's my favorite division right now in the UFC. It might be the best division in the UFC right now, regardless of my bias, because you look at all the killers in here. In this one, we have former champion Belal Muhammad taking on Ian Garry. Hey, the stakes are high, the styles couldn't be more different, and both guys have something to prove in this one. For Belal Muhammad, he's has earned a reputation as one of the most consistent, gritty fighters in the UFC, with a style built around relentless pressure, wrestling, and cardio. On the other hand, you got Ian Garry, the young, flashy Irish prospect. Well, I wouldn't say prospect anymore. He's more of a contender at this point, who has taken the UFC by storm with his striking, athleticism, and sharp fight IQ. This is a clash of two very different approaches to the fight game: a veteran grappler versus a slick and composed striker. The question here isn't whether either of these fighters can handle pressure, is whether Bilal can close the distance around Garry and impose his style, or if Garry can keep the fight standing, use his striking, and show that he's much better, that he can handle a former champion. It's kind of interesting too, because I know the hate has died down to a degree, but you have more or less two of the more disliked welterweights going after it. People don't like Bilal too much because he can be boring at times, but the man was on an 11 fight win streak. He did win the belt. He did it dominantly, and he fought valiantly in defending that belt against Jack Della Maddalena. Meanwhile, for Ian Garry, most people just didn't like him because of his personal issues, personal life with his wife and all that, which I'm not going to get into. I didn't care about it when I first heard about it. I don't care about it now. It's his life. He can go live it. If he's happy with his wife and kid, then all power to him. I could care less what's going on in his personal life. But what I can tell you is that this is an amazing fight. This could arguably be the most intriguing fight on the card, or the one, I guess, with the what's the one I look for here? I can't say this is the fight with the highest stakes because the main event is a title eliminator, but I can definitely say that this will add another cog in the machine that is the welterweight title picture. Either way, you have, like I said, two very good fighters. And one thing I'll say before I get into their styles, I think you have two of the smarter fighters in the welterweight division. Like some of the highest fight IQs in the welterweight division are these two. You can disagree with me or not, that's fair. But for my money, these two are some of the smartest welterweights on the roster. So starting with Belal Muhammad, Belal is the definition of grit and pressure. His game is built on an excellent wrestling foundation, but what sets him apart is his ability to make every fight ugly, grueling, and difficult. He's not gonna woe you with flashy technique. He's gonna do whatever it takes to grind out victories. On the feet, Muhammad, it is functional. His striking isn't necessarily pretty, but it's effective. He's got solid boxing. Obviously, you've seen the Canelo hands, and particularly his jab and straight right hand. He's not going to overwhelm you with combinations, but he is constantly in your face, landing clean shots and staying active. And what Belal lacks in knockout power, he makes up for it with sheer volume and persistence. Kind of how he got the TKO over Sean Brady, just stayed in his face and kept punching him until the ref stopped the fight. Granted, it wasn't the most overwhelming TKO, like, oh my God, but TKO over Sean Brady still. Where Muhammad really shines is his pressure. He's got an incredible gas tank. He knows how to fight for 3 rounds or 5 rounds too. He's in your face constantly, landing strikes and then looking to close the distance. His takedowns are decent. They're not the best in the division, but effective enough to get the fight where he wants it. And once on the ground, Muhammad is very good, very difficult to deal with. He's got a solid top game with good control. He's very persistent in looking for submissions or ground and pound. The thing about Muhammad is that he's always evolving. He works hard to improve his striking and become a more well-rounded fighter. You've seen it even at like 37 years old, where his striking, like I said, were functional. He's developed pretty good boxing. I can joke about Canelo hands all I want, but he did put on very good boxing against Leon Edwards, and his kicks have improved vastly, especially that switch kick to the body he likes to throw. But obviously, his true strength lies in his ability to suffocate his opponents with constant pressure and wrestling. And if he can impose that pace and get Garry to the ground, he's going to make life hell for Garry. Now, looking at Ian Garry, he has quickly made a name for himself since starting the UFC. Now, obviously, not the same level of trash talking as Conor McGregor, but brash young Irish kid. Well, not kid, but brash young Irishman, and who thinks of himself very highly. And for what it's worth, I think he's proven it. I mean, you can make fun of Ian Garry all you want. I have nothing but all the respect in the world for this man. I mean, he wanted the smoke. He was not afraid of it, and he got it. He took Shavkat on short notice and made the boogeyman of the division look pretty human, and even got his back and nearly went for the choke, and nearly got the rear naked choke in that fight. He fought Carlos Prates on short notice and beat him, which, by the way, that win has aged beautifully. I mean, Ian Garry's really good. He's really, really good. I don't know what else to tell you. His fights can be boring at times, sure, like Muhammad. Difference with Muhammad as well, he can sometimes lay on his opponent and, not necessarily be the most dangerous guy. Garry is dangerous to a degree. He's got good accuracy and with his striking, but at times he will play the long game, just jab and leg kick you and just circle on his bike for 15 minutes. That's what he did against Jeff Neal. He can use the clinch pretty effectively too. But what immediately he stands out for Garry, or when you watch him, is his movement. He's very fluid in the way he switches stances. He's got slick head movement, and his footwork allows him to always be in position for clean shots. Garry has the ability to fight at range, constantly switching things up to make it difficult for his opponents to close the distance. And while I said he can just jab and keep, he does have diverse striking. He's got sharp jabs, lightning fast kick, and can switch between orthodox and southpaw at will. In fact, you saw in his last finish, which was against Daniel Rodriguez, how Garry was smart in setting it up with constantly going to the body, and then when D-Rod thought he was going to go for another body kick, he changed it to a high kick on the rear side in orthodox, and just from there finished D-Rod off. He's got excellent distance management and using his footwork to create angles and avoid getting hit while landing crisp counters. Garry's right hook and straight left are particularly dangerous, and I would say his best strikes. And his ability to throw combinations that flow seamlessly. Garry comes with precision. You can tell he's always calculating his next move. He does have high fight IQ. And Garry's not just a one-dimensional striker. He's got solid defensive grappling and submission defense. And while he hasn't faced high-level wrestler like Muhammad, or I take that back. He fought Shavkat, right? But Shavkat isn't the same explosive wrestler as Muhammad. Shavkat gets most of his takedowns from the clinch, and that's the difference. Garry has displayed good takedown defense and the ability to get back to his feet when taken down. He's a fast learner too. You've seen it, right? He was able to mix it up and use his grappling to beat MVP, even though I thought he lost that fight. Use his clinch control to smother Jeff Neal. Again, he's shown good wrestling defense against Shavkat in the clinch. And then you saw where he was able to play the long game and then in mixing his striking distance to fluster and frustrate Prates. What makes Garry dangerous is that he doesn't have to engage in a brawl to win. He's happy to, like I said, to fight with technique, keep distance, and make his opponents chase him while he's picking them apart. But even scary is that when he does engage, he's got knockout power. He's shown it. He's shown that he can fight while hurt, like against Keon Song. And he's comfortable finishing fights in a variety of ways. He does have good submissions, but you mostly see that in Cage Warriors, to be fair. So, how do these two clash up? I'll say this right now. Actually, I'll get to that in a little bit. I apologize. For Belal Muhammad, he's going to want to make this ugly and grueling. Push forward with pressure and use his wrestling to neutralize Garry's striking. He's going to try to close the distance, land some strikes, and get Garry to the mat where he can control the fight. Muhammad is going to have to pressure Garry in the clinch, wear him down, and avoid getting into a striking exchange for too long. And if he can get Garry on the cage or work his takedowns, he's got a clear path to victory. On the other hand, Garry is going to want to use his speed, movement, and striking to keep this fight at range. He doesn't want to play into Muhammad's wrestling, and so he'll look to constantly circle, change angles, and pepper Muhammad with clean counters and jabs. Garry can be very elusive with his head movement and footwork, which is going to make it hard for Muhammad to land clean shots in close distance. Ian Garry's key here is the ability to avoid the takedowns and keep Muhammad on the outside. Biggest thing for Garry, he cannot go past the black line because that's where Muhammad usually starts getting his takedowns. If Garry can stop the takedowns and keep it a striking match, I see him having a distinct advantage. Yeah, Muhammad has improved his striking, but Garry is still going to be the technically superior fighter, the slicker striker, and the faster striker. And his footwork and speed allow him to outpoint Muhammad and avoid any major exchanges where he could get pressured. But if Muhammad can get Garry to the ground, it could be a different story. Garry's grappling defense will be tested big time in this fight. As I said, while Shavkat is a good wrestler, I'd say he's more of a better grappler than wrestler, and Muhammad is easily a better wrestler than Shavkat in my mind. And if Muhammad can establish a dominant top game, he could potentially steal rounds and finish Garry. Well, who am I kidding? This fight is going to go to a decision. I don't see a finish. I guess I spoiled that part. But for my official prediction, I'm going to go with Ian Garry in this one. If this was 5 rounds, I do think Muhammad would have a much better chance. But in a 3-round fight, I do favor Garry to stick and move and be too elusive for Muhammad for vast majority of the fight. Biggest thing for me is I've said these two have good fight IQs. They're really good game planners. But you look at how they game plan, right? For Muhammad, with his well-roundedness, he oftentimes fights his opponent in the area they're weakest at, whether if you're a really good striker who just out-wrestle you like he did to Thompson, or if you're a really good wrestler/grappler, he's going to mostly fight on the feet like he did Brady. Ian Garry's a bit different in that he takes his opponent's best skills and just throws it out the window, and now his opponents are forced to fight with less optimal skills. For example, he was able to never let Carlos Prates gauge the distance and kept him on the back foot for a vast majority of the fight. For MVP, mostly uses grappling. And even in the loss to Shavkat, he was able to stifle a lot of Shavkat's offense in the clinch, use his slick striking, which granted could have been Shavkat's surprise that Garry was able to out-grapple him, but in that moment, but still used a well-rounded approach, or like smother Jeff Neal in the clinch. So I think while both are really good game planners, I favor Ian Garry's game plan that it's going to be stick and move. He's going to be very elusive. He's a lot more stronger in the clinch than you would think. He's deceptively strong in it. And I think he's going to be able to prevent Muhammad from getting comfortable, and his offensive striking will keep Muhammad on the back foot. If this fight stays standing, I think Garry's just going to pick Muhammad apart with his jab, footwork, and clean counters. So my official prediction, I'm going to go with Ian Garry in this one, and I'm going to pick him via decision. I don't see a finish in this one. Belal Muhammad is pretty tough, and he took some bad punches from Jack Della Maddalena. And, while Ian Garry, could Ian Garry knock out Belal Muhammad? Sure. If he lands a head kick or something like that, absolutely. But Muhammad's shown durability, and Garry hasn't shown much finishing instincts as of late. He does have them, but not as of late. So my official prediction, I'm going to go with Ian Garry, and I'm picking him via decision. But that being said, that's been my breakdown of this fight. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win. But until then, I've been Bo from Brutal Commentary. Stay calm, stay respectful, and enjoy the violence. I'll see y'all next time.